Governor Rick Snyder is getting into a lot of hot water over the Flint water crisis, and he has recently came out and called this contamination in Flint a disaster. Well, how much of a disaster? Well, according to an interview with the National Journal published yesterday, he said, when asked if the comparisons to Katrina, Hurricane Katrina, largely considered the biggest domestic blunder of the George W. Bush administration, was unfair, Snyder said no. No, it's a disaster. It is essentially our Katrina. Well, I would argue that it's, well, hear me out here. I'll get into that. For one, we know that the city's high levels of lead in the water supply can be traced back to a 2014 decision to switch the water source in order to save money, while under the state bankruptcy management. Now, Snyder has said, look, there's a problem, right? It's like Katrina, but there were multiple failures at multiple levels. And this happens to be a negative for his time in office. Now, I consider his entire time in office to be a negative, but clearly that is my opinion, right? Now, he says it's clearly a negative on what we've accomplished since I've been governor. Now, interestingly enough, the magazine actually asked questions about when the state found out about the Flint water supply's toxic lead levels. But he knew. He knew beforehand. And we've covered that before. Now, here's the difference, right? Now, he says it's our Katrina, but it's not. It's different. See, Katrina was a natural disaster, and it was handled very, very badly, right? Flint was an entirely avoidable man-made disaster created to try and save money, despite the fact that, of course, that everybody knew that the Flint water was terrible. It was corrosive. It was polluted. It was unsafe. And through the actions of the emergency manager in the state, was made even more toxic. This is even more of a disaster because it could have been prevented. Maybe with some proper care, some proper oversight, this could have been avoided. But hey, Republicans don't believe in that. That would have cost money, right? Would have cost money. Maybe if the emergency manager hadn't been so cheap to try and switch over water, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But see, this is small government for you. This is running government like a business. You cut costs at all costs. And see, the difference between government and a business often comes down to people's lives. People's lives are in the balance here. And now, because of this decision, because of this action, an entire generation of kids in Flint are now lost. This is a lost generation. They will never be able to live up to their potential because they were poisoned in order to save a buck. And look, it's not just Snyder, it's not just the EM manager. If the EPA really did drop the ball on this, that's also part of their responsibility, right? It's part of their responsibility to punish those who didn't act and to fix the problem so this never happens again. Look, I'm tired of the cost, right? I'm tired of hearing about, oh, it's expensive to do this. It's expensive to make sure that we have adequate infrastructure for our water. It's too expensive to have adequate schools in place. It's too expensive. To hell with how much it costs, man. I'm tired of people's lives being weighted by how much money it would cost. Enough. These are human beings. And human beings deserve clean water. That is a human right. Clean water is a human right. So is clean air. Okay? So is clean air. Cost, money should not be a factor. The whole reason we have government is to make sure that we have those. And if they cannot guarantee the health of their citizens by providing safe water to drink, then maybe we should be wondering why the fuck they're even there. Why are they even there if they're not doing their job? We're not paying them to take campaign contributions from corporations so they can pollute the rivers. That's bullshit. Bullshit. We shouldn't be paying the price, doubly so, to allow corporations to dump toxic waste in the environment. Not only do we have to live with it, But we're also paying for that. Every time they take a tax cut, we pay for that. Every time they dump something in the river and someone gets sick from drinking the water, we pay for that. I'm tired of paying for it. If the cost of having jobs in corporations is the health and welfare of our children, it's too high. It's too high. Way too high. Look, man, it's about time that we rein in businesses, okay? It's about time we rein in business, corporations, and bad government. And bad governors. And you know where we should start? We should start with Rick Snyder.